Hello and welcome to Coleslaw of My Consciousness. Today I have a little bit of a ranty episode for you guys. I'm going to do this as my first book review version. I have been listening to a book in my car, which I am apt to do because it helps me get through some of my reading list and all that kind of thing. But then I also am doing something like on the way to work and stuff like that. It's really nice to have. However, this most recent book that I've been listening to is called Teardrop by Lauren Kate, and I've liked previous books by her. I read her whole Fallen series and had a great time with it, but oh my gosh, Teardrop is painful to get through. When it first started with its little prologue of the seed bearers or whatever Anders people are called, I was like, okay, this is a little weird. I guess I can maybe work with this and see where it goes. But yeah, it was mostly just weird at the start. But as I've gotten further and further into the novel, I'm about halfway now, although none of the, I assume, like, magic-y type stuff has been explained yet. It's just, oh, here's a mystery of this thunderstone. Here's a mystery of this mark on Brooks's forehead that we're making very careful descriptions of, so I'm sure relates to whatever the crap Ander does, but in, like, the opposite direction. And all that kind of thing. And then the book that no one can read except for this, like, gypsy lady who's just this random person. And she's like, here, I'll translate it for you. It's like this silly little love story. Whatever. Anyways, like I said, I'm about halfway through the novel right now. And all I can really say is that pretty much every single one of these characters is just a deplorable human being. I kind of hate them all. Just gonna throw that one out there. They're all obnoxious. You've got your main character whose mom died, so understandably there could be like some grief and some grumpiness going on there, but she's just grumpy at the whole world all the time. Anything that happens in the story, she's like, I don't want to be here right now, Diana is dead, yada yada yada. Also, speaking of that, for someone who's so close to her mom, went on like excavation archaeology trips, which is part of her mom's job, and went to all these different places with her mom, enjoyed all this time with her mom, has this apparently super close bond with her mom. Why on earth does she call her mom Diana? You would think that closeness would indicate, oh, I call her mom. At least from my understanding, most of the time, a parent figure you'll call like mom or dad when you're close to them. But not in this case. In this case, she's like, my mom is Diana. And she won't call her stepmom or anything like that either. Her stepmom is very clearly Rhoda. She goes to all these therapists and crap, and it's like, Rhoda. She is Rhoda every time it comes up. So I'm just like, if you're that close with your mom, why are you calling her Diana? I mean, I guess it's kind of a way to introduce it if other characters end up knowing who Diana is and reference Diana, but at the same time you can just have a quick line, Diana is my mom's name, and it covers that. And then it's not this weirdness of, we're super close, we're bonded, like this tight thing, almost like we're one person, but I call her Diana. I don't get it. Anyways, she's a deplorable human being. Let's get back to that for a brief moment. So our dear Eureka, like I said, is just grumpy at the entire world. Her dad did remarry after her parents divorced, which was long before her mother died, but she's still mad at her dad for that. And she apparently loves the twin kids that her dad had with her stepmom, but at the same time, she doesn't really do anything with her family or enjoy time with her family. She's like, Dad is this amazing world-class chef, and he tries to connect with you through food, which is all fine and dandy, but she kind of refuses to do it. She had one moment where I was like, oh, she's gonna, turn out to be an okay person and have an actual relationship with her dad, because her dad was like, we just did this will thing. Do you want to go get some banana freezes? Which is like their tradition from her childhood. It's just the two of us. We can do that thing. And she's like, for a second, I really wanted this. I really wanted to go get those banana freezes, have something like my childhood again. And then the big but. But I don't know how to talk to Dad anymore. And I don't want to talk to Dad anymore because things will come up like my mom's death, like therapy, like Rhoda, that I just don't want to talk about. And so she blows her dad off. And I'm like, you could have been such a nice human being, but you just have all these problems. And she does that with her friends, where she'll just blow them off for things. And she has this best friend who's a guy named Brooks, who naturally, based on the style of novel that I'm listening to, is going to have a crush on her. And she doesn't know that he has a crush on her. And all that kind of thing. It's super obvious in the setup that that's going on. But once feelings start coming out, she's like, oh, I kissed Brooks. Why did I kiss Brooks? I'm such an idiot. It felt really good to kiss Brooks, but Brooks was the wrong person to be kissing, and all this stupid stuff. And for reasons that I don't entirely understand, Brooks got upset after the kiss and had a big shouting match with Eureka. All that fun stuff. And from there, it was like, okay, we got into this weird shouting match. It's all Brooks' fault. He's the one who's got to apologize. I don't have to do anything. It's all his fault. Which, I mean, technically he instigated it, but you were yelling and shouting back at him, so you have some fault too. And she gets mad at him then when he doesn't apologize, like, immediately after. And, oh, it's just so obnoxious. I hate all these characters. She has another best friend named Kat, who I kind of like to think of as Pat, mostly because the person who I'm listening to does not enunciate very well. So half the time it sounds like Kat, and half the time it sounds like Pat. But in any case, that's beside the point. And Kat is one of those, like, womanizer type girls, if that's even a proper way to express it. Kat basically is a flirt with everyone. She can't keep a boy for more than like 2 days straight. At one point, she has a boyfriend named Rodney who's in college and is studying languages and things. And she's like, oh, Eureka, you just got this untranslatable book from your mom. Let's go show him because he knows a lot of languages. And then they have their flirty thing going on. And they seem like they, like each other or having a decent relationship. Next time we see Kat, pretty much, she's like, oh, I am with Bill now. He's from the police station. Let's go report on this Andrew guy who's been stalking you. And I'm just like, oh, this is so stupid. I hate all these characters so much. They're such deplorable human beings. I just hate that kind of character. I'm sure there are people out there in the world who just can't hold down a boyfriend type of thing. And who do just keep running to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. But it's so stupid, too, because Eureka talks about her friend Kat with Bill and is like, but I know that she's practicing writing his last name out like she does with all her other boyfriends. And I'm like, I kind of doubt that Kat's the kind who sees that kind of permanency. You can write it in the story if you want, but the way she's behaving, she does not see any of her relationships as something that's going to be permanent. And this is just stupid, and I don't like it. I'm just really grumpy about this book. I mentioned Ander briefly. Let's talk about him some more. He's a stalker. He claims that he's not stalking her and he's doing it to protect her. But no matter what you call it, he's stalking her. I mean, how can it be anything but stalking? Her first introduction to him is him crashing into her car at a stop sign. They have a really weird conversation and things. But Eureka, of course, is like, oh, he's kind of cute at the same time and has this weird, like, love-hate thing going on with him because he's stalking her. Oh, no, he's so weird and strange, but his eyes are like the ocean and his hair is so beautiful and his skin is so pale. And I'm just like, I'm done. I can't deal with this. It's so stupid. And he is stalking her, verifiably. He admits it in the prologue because it's from his perspective and is the scene when her and her mom almost die, but ends up just being her mom because, oh, Andrew's got a good heart. He went and saved her anyways. And the way he talks about her in that scene, He's been following her pretty much since childhood, it sounds like. He knows all her habits, all her likes and interests, everything she does with her mom, etc., etc. And it's just like, you are a creepy human being. And now he's running around for whatever reason. I'm sure the plot will eventually express this, but I don't know if I'll get to that point because I'm so mad at this book at this point. But anyways, now he's like wandering around up close and impersonal with her and is like, oh my gosh, you're in danger. You're gonna die. Brooks is a danger to you. Because, I mean, I guess there's gonna be something going on again. There's probably some sort of like magic system or something that's building up in this book. I kind of suspect that Ander and Eureka are going to be written off as like a reincarnation type story based on the book that Eureka got from her mother. I've only heard one segment of it so far, but there's a character named Leander in that story, and he's in love with this girl and all that kind of thing. So I think based on that and a couple other clues that it's going to be like a reincarnation thing between Ander and Eureka, and that's part of why she's like so drawn and attracted to him and doesn't want to speak badly of him, even though he's outright stalking her. I mean, Kat dragged her to a police station to try and get her to talk about how this boy is stalking her, and she's like, I just want to defend Ander. Don't make me do this, Kat. It's just stupid. It's so stupid. I'm like, I can't deal with this story anymore. But anyways, so yeah, I think it's going to turn into some kind of like reincarnation-y type love story going that direction. But then you've got the weirdness of him being like a seed bearer or whatever it was called. That was mentioned at the very beginning and hasn't come up since, but has to do with why he was watching Eureka almost die, and then instead of letting her die, decided to save her instead, and is probably actually why she's in danger of death now, technically, because Ander couldn't follow through on the assassination mission that he was supposed to have at the beginning of the novel. So everything is his fault, and I just hate him anyways. But yeah, it somehow relates to Brooks. Brooks had some sort of injury where he like passed out and collapsed, and now he's got some weird injury on his forehead, and he looks different, but Eureka can't explain how. He just looks like brawnier and beefier and stuff. Is he going through a second growth spurt? Whatever. And like, he's got this weird injury that as soon as Ander saw it was like, oh my gosh, back off, stay away from Eureka, kind of a thing. And I mean, I don't know what the conflict is going to be between these characters, but I'm kind of stopping caring, and I'm kind of done with this book, so I'm pretty sure that I won't be finishing it. But I just wanted to give off a little ranty review about it, because I pretty much hate every single character in this. I take that back. I do like her father. I think he's a nice guy. Like I said, he does his little cooking to try and connect thing, and he seems like a genuinely nice human being. He doesn't overly freak out when Eureka tells about getting rear-ended and stuff. You know, he's like, oh, as long as you're okay, but Eureka doesn't see it that way because Eureka's stupid and is also worried about Rhoda coming home and being like, my car, you destroyed my car. So yeah. Rhoda's kind of an awful beast, at least the way she's portrayed in here. She seems like she could be a fairly nice lady. She does care about her stepdaughter. She's tried to put her into therapy so that her stepdaughter can cope and move on with life, but her stepdaughter is like, every single therapist I have is a complete nutcase and is stupid and doesn't understand me, but she isn't willing to open up to them so they can't understand her either, so it's in part her fault. But anyways, Rhoda does care about her stepdaughter. You know, she's trying to do things like that and, you know, support her and figure out ways to connect with her. I mean, she's more uptight than Diana was, apparently, so that's a horrible thing. But, yeah, it's stupid. Also, Diana's kind of a stupid character. I mean, she seems like she was a loving enough mother, but somewhere in her divorce with Eureka's dad, things just got weird. It was like, why are you guys divorcing? What are you guys fighting over? Oh no, Diana's a free spirit and he's not, or something. I don't know. It wasn't very well defined, and I thought it was stupid. As I've thought with most of this book, which is unfortunate because, as I mentioned, I have liked Lauren and Kate in the past, but this one just is not one of those. But yeah, so that's a lot of my basic thoughts on the story. Yeah. I will say, since this is also a somewhat writing related thing, and I may as well throw in one brief little bit of my own writing, when when they get to the scene where they're reading out Diana's will, uh, I did kind of like that there were like all these letters that she gave out to the different people there. But if there really is this big secret that we're building up to that I may or may not get to actually listen to because I'm stopping caring about the novel, the way I would have done it, instead of it just being one letter that happened to be written like 2 months-ish or whatever before her mom's death, if she's really got this secret, I would have done it as a series of letters. Like once a year, Diana's like, I may die at some point. I want to leave some clues for my daughter because I can't just tell her outright because that's the way books work and plots work, so that we can keep things interesting and mystical. So for that, I would have done it like a letter a year. Like, my baby is 1 year old, here's a letter to you, here's what I'm doing, and then here at 2, at 3, at 4, etc., until we've built up all these different letters. And I think that would have been a better way to express that, hey, there's kind of something going on, I do care about you, I do have this sense that at some point I'm not going to be there with you, but I want to leave you some clues about how to handle and cope with things. But maybe that's just me. I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all I have to say for the moment about this book. Again, I'm pretty much done with it. I'm debating if I even want to finish it. But yeah, that's where we're at. I will say that the reader, apart from her lack of pronunciation on certain names, is a very nice reader. Her name is Erin Spencer, and I really like her voice, and I think that might be part of why I ended up halfway through this novel. But anyways, I think that's all for now. That's my review of Teardrop, even though I haven't finished the book. Everyone is deplorable in it. Just spare yourself. Anyways, this is Umlaut Herper signing out. I'll see you in the next video.